Hi all, and welcome to my video series on how to film weddings. So this video course is going to be around 14 to 15 videos long, and it's going to go through all the stages from getting the right equipment all the way to giving the client the final product. Now, there are a couple of things we need to figure out before we even think about filming a wedding or weddings as a professional. And the topic of today's video is, am I right for this job? Okay, so you might think, well, of course I'm right for this job because I want to make money filming weddings. And that's fine and dandy, but the problem you have there is you've got to be in the right mindset for filming a wedding. Now, so is wedding videography for you? Can you work with difficult people? Do you have the right mindset? And can you afford the equipment? So those are some of the things that you need to think about. So let's break those down a bit further. So is wedding videography for you? Are you the kind of person that will work long hours? Are you the kind of person that can support staff? Can you work with difficult people? Now, I'm not just talking about bridezillas. There's loads of different people you need to think about, especially in Asian weddings. And what you need to think about is, are all the family on board? Is the father of the bride on board? That's if you're doing the bride side or the groom side. A lot of times for Asian weddings, they'll have a videographer and photographer from the girl side and a videographer and photographer from the boys side. And that can be a really messy dynamic. Reason being, you are competing with the videographer from the other side who wants the right position, wants to get the right shot, and a lot of the times you have to be really nice to them and just make sure you can get your space. It can be difficult because you've got the videographer from the other side who won't want to give you the spot that you want to stand in to get the right shot that you want. A lot of the times they can be very difficult. It's just one of those things, it's just people. But you know, you've got to deal with stuff like that, and what I tend to do is go over to the videographer, shake his hand, introduce myself. You know, throughout the day, it's going to be a long day. And you know, you've got to make sure this guy is on your side too. You need to make sure that you're working together to deliver the same product. What other difficult people will you get? Definitely always the brothers or sisters of the bride. Definitely. The brothers won't want to get videoed. The sisters, it doesn't happen that often, but there have been times when the sisters of the bride have not wanted to be filmed. You've got guests that don't want to be filmed. Alright, so one of the main things you need to think about is, do you have the right mindset to be a videographer? Now, I'm not saying you need to be mentally stable, far from it, but what you do need to do is you need to be able to manage your workflow on the go, on the fly, because it can change from point A to point B, and you need to be in the mindset that you want to work, you're there to just work. You don't want to socialize with any people, you don't want to socialize with any other guests. It doesn't matter if you know them, on a personal level, and you're just saying hello and what have you, but you've got to always remember that making sure you capture the day for the bride and groom, that is your main priority. So I've seen in the past a lot of videographers who are really pally with the people that have booked them, and a lot of the times they're too busy talking and they'll miss certain key points. Now that's something I find really annoying, and there have been times when I've missed key points because somebody's distracted me. So my mindset had to change. It had to be always on the go, always listening, always focused on the job at hand. And that's the only way you can actually survive a wedding in terms of filming it. You need to be in a positive mindset as well. You need to be in a happy mindset, because that will then transfer from your mind, your body and your spirit into the camera, through the lens and back out into the final product. My last point on this is, can you afford the equipment? And you need to seriously look at all the different alternatives you have. Now, there are people that shoot with DSLRs, and it's not a bad thing at all. They give you a level of functionality that you wouldn't get from a video camcorder. Now, a lot of people find it easier working with those, but the problem is, there's a couple of problems actually. On a long shoot, you're limited to recording 30 minutes at a time. Now, on some DSLRs, it'll create a new file once it's got up to about 4 gig, which is fine. But when you put those two video pieces together, depending on which camera it is, you might lose a couple of seconds here and there. Now, that can be a problem if it happens during a speech. So if there's a best man speech, or one of the nephews or nieces reciting something, you know, if that gets cut, it's not going to look very good, even though you could put a transition in there and then just, you know, edit it out without it looking too bad. But then you need to remember you'll need like a second camera always rolling, in which case you can cut from one camera to the other. You know, there are ways around it, but it's just a bit messy. It's very messy for me. One of the other things I would like to just point out is that the preamps on the cameras, or the DSLR cameras, aren't very good, and what you'll see is the audio quality is good. It's not bad, it's usable, but it's not great. And if you do drag it into Adobe Audition or something like that, you will be trying to clean something up which doesn't have enough sound data to actually give you a nice crisp clean sound. Now, there are video camera mics that you can get off aftermarket for DSLRs. The Rode range are pretty good, but we're kind of going past what this video is about, so I think that's food for thought there, and we'll cover that later on in one of the other videos. So what I want you to really seriously think about is wedding videography for you? Can you work from 5 in the morning all the way till 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night, and then drive back home wherever you live? There aren't many Asian weddings that start at 5 a.m, but the 5 a.m. is usually your travel time. So can you work the long hours? Do you have the ability to sit at home and do video editing? Can you outsource it to somebody else? You know, you need to figure out if you can do all these little different elements, and if you can, that's great. Also, remember, you need to be in the right mindset. You need to be positive. You need to be happy. You can't be miserable. You can't be in that state of mind where you're thinking, I don't want to be here. You have to be there. People are relying on you to capture their day. They can only ever do it once, and you need to be on the ball. So do your research on finding the equipment. You should be able to source second-hand equipment from everywhere. eBay can give you a good head start there. Okay, so that's it for today's episode. I hope I've covered some key points there that you need to think about before you even try to film a wedding video. So please like and subscribe to this video series, and please watch out for the next video coming soon. Thank you.